Hi everyone, and welcome to another video by Ngangangaroya. In this channel we usually just do everything's data, coding, just to see and just promote data literacy and practice a couple of things with these technologies that are practical to the real world. So in this video we're going to learn how to create a simple texting bot that works with WhatsApp. It goes and texts your potential clients or your potential people that you want to text according to the naming system that you have given them. And it is very necessary because forwarding messages on WhatsApp only texts 5 people. You can only forward to 5 people, and if you have 5,000 people you want to text, this will take a very large, copiously large amount of time. And broadcast text only gets to the people that have your contact. So everyone who does not have your contact will not receive the message, and this is just losing potential customers. How this texting bot works: when you come here and run this code, this is how it works. Goes to the search bar, everything is happening automatically now, drags it to the last person, clicks the last person, goes there, sends a certain message, clicks send, then does this process over and over again. If you have more like 5,000 numbers, this is something that you can leave your computer doing, and it can be very helpful in automating the redundant work that usually happens. And this is one of the functions of programming. It's just to make your work easier, as there's a book called Automating the Simple Stuff Using Python, and these are some of the things that are supposed to be automated. You're not supposed to keep on texting everyone every single time. So thank you very much. I will see you in the video as I show you how this happens, and once it gets to the end you will see what happens after it texts. I think this is the last round. I told it to do it 5 times. I think this is the last round. Let's just see. Sends it. I think it is done. Perfect. When you go back to the code here, you can see it has done it 5 times. It has counted it 5 times, and you can see what it's searching. It's searching for potentials, and it's searching 5. It's doing it 5 times according to this for loop. We're going to see how all this applies, and you can do it by yourself, know which packages to install, etc. Fun times ahead. See you in the video. Hi everyone. So the first step you need to do is to open up your favorite IDE. I'm going to use Sublime Text for this one, and after opening it up we have to open a new file. Just come here, new file, and in this new file we'll save it, and we'll just give it a name. Let's call it the texter, the underscore texter.py, so that our Sublime Text understands that we're writing Python code, and press enter. After doing this, we have to understand what we're trying to do. Let's go to my service agent's WhatsApp that he has sent the link to, and you can see a lot of things here, but we have to understand what we want to do is we want to text a couple of people. So first of all, he has saved them as potentials, and these potentials are the ones who are supposed to be texted. For example, this one has not received a message yet and is supposed to be texted, and the text is supposed to receive. I think he maybe has sent a couple of them. Exactly, wants to send a text that looks like this. He wants to send these texts to these potentials, a couple of them, let's say about 20 probably. Yeah, and he has texted thousands and thousands of them, but these are the ones that have not been texted, and we want to create that simple automation of the texting rather than making scrolling and texting every single one of them. So see, as we have seen, the first step is to come here, write potentials, drag it to the bottom, click this person, send. Let me just adjust this to afternoon. Then come click here, then go back here to the potentials, search again, go to the last one, click this one, send, press enter, and then this is a process that is repeating itself, hence it can be automated. For this we'll use something called PyAutoGui. PyAutoGui, and this is just as you can see, lets your Python script control the mouse and keyboard to automate interactions with our application. The API is designed to be simple. It is a very good and very simple to use. As you can see, the first step here is to pip install PyAutoGui or PyAutoGui, and we'll just come here to our shell. I have already installed it, so but we'll just have to do the first step again. As you can see, requirement already satisfied, and once you do that, let's close this one out. Once you do that, we can go to the where we'll write our script. Okay, so the first step that we want to take is, first of all, is to import this library. First library we want to import is PyAutoGui. So we'll import PyAutoGui as, let's import it as Py. Then we want to, something else we need to import is called time. So we'll import time, or just because we're not going to use everything in time, we're going to use something in time that is called sleep. So from time import sleep. Perfect. Now we need a couple of things. Since it controls the keyboard, it controls the mouse, we need to know a couple of things before we move on. First of all, we need to understand that we need to search. So we'll go back here. We know the first step is to click here, then write potentials so that it searches. And how that works is, first of all, we have to locate and know the X and Y of that specific point. For us to find that out, we'll use a function in PyAutoGui, which is called position. So we'll just print the position. We'll just do Py. Let's first print, and what we'll print inside here will be the Py.position. Basically Py.position, then brackets. When we run this, let me just open this one up a little bit. When we run this, what we see is we'll get coordinates. These are coordinates of where the mouse is. So if the mouse is here and then we run it, these are the coordinates of where that specific point the mouse was in. And the coordinates we want are for this point. Let me just clear this one out. The coordinates we want are for this specific point here. So we'll put it there, go back here, run this, and then now we will have these coordinates. These coordinates will be the search box. So we'll just call it X of, how will you put it? Let's say X of search. Let's call it X of search. Let it be equal to 234. 234, and then Y of search will be equal to 296. Okay, let us continue. So we have found the X of search and the Y of search. And for us to understand this, I will let me just write something here, and so that you can understand what I mean. We'll use a function called moveIt. Called move2 into brackets X search comma Y search. Let's give it a chance to let's give it a sleep of a second so that it gives us time to see it move, and let's give it a duration equal to 2 seconds. See what happens. I'll move the cursor here, I'll run this code, and then I will go back to this. As you can see, it moves up to the point that we want. You can see that again. Move it away, run this code, come here, wait, and you can see it move there. And that's the function of PyAutoGui. It's just to automate a couple of things in your computer. Okay, let's just get rid of this code. Once we move here, what we want to do is to type. After we move here, the next thing we want to do is to type something there. So what we'll go back here, we'll have let's just comment something out here. So the first step steps, let me just write steps so that I avoid writing all that. Step 1 is to move to search box. Okay. 2 is to type the search that we want. This time we want to search potentials. Step 3 is to scroll. Since after we write potentials, we need to come here and scroll. Okay, so the third point is to scroll to bottom. Since we scroll to bottom to find the ones that have not been texted yet, scroll to bottom. The fourth step, once we scroll to bottom, the fourth step, once we scroll to the bottom here, you can we need to click at this point on the last one. So click, then type message, then send. Okay, so fourth step is to click last contact. The other step is step 5, which is to type text. The sixth step is to send message, and then go back to step 1, go to the search box, type, scroll. So these are all the steps. Let me just correct this. These are all the steps. So let's give it some space. Let's put it at the beginning here, like that, so we know which steps we want to follow. Okay, now after going to the search, you need to type potentials. This will be done by PyAutoGui. Scroll. While scrolling, we need the cursor to be exactly, once we write potentials, we need the cursor to be exactly here, exactly there. So we'll just run this again, so to see the coordinates. Okay, so the coordinates of scrolling, X of scroll start, where the scrolling will start, drag start, just call it that. and then y. Okay, x of drag start and then y of drag start. And then what we will do is just give this coordinates 663, and then this other one will be equal to 334. So we are just defining variables of the xy axis for the drag start, and then the end of the drag, we want it to come up to this point, exactly there. So we'll come back here, run this again. So we want the end of the drag to be 666.119. Okay, so let me just paste this and write end real quick, copy, paste, and it's y. This step is very necessary because we need to know where all these are. This can be 666 or 663 because we already know this 663 is in the same lane as the other one. So this is the one that we need, 1019. Okay, after it drags to the end, the other coordinate we need is this coordinate to click this specific person. So we go there, run the code again, and get those points. X for, let's say, last contact will be equal to 430, and then copy this, have the y now, which will be equal to 876. Okay, we have created now the last contact. The next thing we need to click is this text space here. So the text space, we just go there, go back here, run this, then you get now the x of the text space. That would be equal to 1026, and then the y of the x of the text space will be equal to 978. Okay, the last step we want to do is to come to this text point here. So this point is which the next coordinate we're going to look for, and then it's going to be text x of texts, and then we'll just let's write send so that it does not confuse the text space. X of send, this x of send will be equal to 1860, and the y of send will be equal to 969. Perfect. Now we have all the coordinates that we need. Now we need to write the code itself. So let's first of all, what we're going to do first, we're going to define a function. Let's call it texter. Okay, we can have some variables inside here, maybe like what to text, probably what we are looking for. Let's say search. Okay, let's continue. And then the first step is we need it to sleep so that we can have the chance to move here. So we need to sleep for just a second. Okay, the next step is to click the specific point here, this point. So we go py.click, and what it's going to click is the x search, x of search, then the y of search, and then we're going to give it a duration of let's say a second, equals to 1 second. Okay, the next step we want to do is type something out. So we want to type what we want to search. So you py.write and then we're going to write search here. Okay. The next step is we want it to drag that, but we want to give it some time to get the search in. So we'll just sleep for a second. Sleep for a second. And then now we want to drag this. How the drag works, it goes to once you give it a specific point, it clicks and it drags from the X that we have given it and Y to the X and Y that we have given it. So we want first of all to move to this point, then we drag it to this point. So first of all, what we want to do is use the move to. All these are in the documentation, remember, so don't wonder what they are. You can just go to the PyAutoGui documentation, see how everything works. For now, we are just showing you how to create this. We want to do the drag start, Y of the drag start, and then we just give it a duration of let's give it no, we're just moving right now. We move there, then when we drag we want to give it some duration. So we go, the next point is we drag 2. So once we go to the where they want the dragging to start, this specific point, we have moved here. Now we want it to drag to this specific point. Want it to drag it to here. So that's why we're using drag to, and it's going to drag it to the drag end. Y underscore drag end. And now we want it we don't want it to happen instantly. We want it to have a duration of, let's say, 3 seconds. Okay. After that, the dragging, we move on to the next point. After the scrolling here, we move on to clicking the last contact. So what we want to do here, after moving there, we want to now to click the last contact, which is has been given the coordinates last contact here. So we just py.click, and then we're going to make it click the last contact here, X of last contact, then Y of the last contact. Okay. We'll give it some duration so that if it has not loaded, it loads completely. And let's give it just 1 second. And then we want it to move to the text space now. It has clicked the person. It has clicked the last person. Now it wants to type the message. Py.click. Now we want to click the text space. X underscore text space, comma, Y underscore text space. We're also going to give it a duration here of let's give it a second. Okay. Now what we want to do is to type the message itself. To avoid retyping and typing every single time, we can use the write, this right here, but I'd rather we just copy paste. So let's say we want to have this message that looks like this. Let's go back to WhatsApp. Our message, let's say our message looks like that. Let's say we want to send x-send. So what we want to do is Control V. That's all we want to do. And how to do that with PyAutoGui is we are going to use key down, something called key down. Let me just show you how it works. So py.key down, and we want it to key down on control. Control, yeah. And then after keying down on control, we want it to key down on V. So it will be this same thing here, but now it keys down on V. Okay, now we have copied, we have pasted, but we need to release. You have pressed down, but you have not pressed up. So we right now key up, and the key up, sorry, I've not written py dot key up, and then it's going to key up the control, and then it's going to do the same thing for v. Perfect. Then after pasting this, because the message might be long, we just give it a sleep period of 2 seconds. Okay, that I think that's good. And now the last step, sending the message itself. If you want to send the message itself, now we just click on the send. So py or py dot click, and what is going to click now is x underscore send, comma y underscore send, and then I'll give it a duration of a second. Boom. Now this function is supposed to work very efficiently. We can just test it out. Okay, let's just take a message of one of the people. I'm not quite sure how the recruiting agents texts people, but I think the first message is this one. Yeah, let me just copy this and see how it all pans out. So now we'll just call this function texter, and then we'll tell it to look for potentials. Let's see how it works. Okay, there's an error here. I think I should write it like that. Oh, sorry. Let me just stop this, cancel. Let's just clear this and see how it works. So let's run this again, move here. Okay, it's working correctly. It's moved to the last person, clicks the last person. Okay, sends the message, and we have seen our function working perfectly. What I think I'll just modify a little bit is on the drag end here. Let me just add a little bit more so that it gets exactly the last person. Perfect. Let's run it again, see how it works. Good. Now I think it gets the last person perfectly, sends the message. Perfect. So what we want to do now is to make it do it not just once. Want it to do a couple of times. And how we're going to do that is just to create a for loop. I'll just get rid of this first. And then, first of all, we want to see how many it has done. And before we do that, let's just create the for loop. So for I in range a certain number here, enter. We're going to run the texter. Then inside here we're going to have potentials, and then okay, perfect. So the range here, let's say 2, and let's run this code again. So we have told it to do it 2 times, and let's see if it's going to do it 2 times. Okay, the first one. Okay, works great, and it has gone and it has done it again. Perfect. I think it is working. Okay. Something else I might want to add here, let's just have a counter, something that will help us know how many have been done. This counter, let's start from 0, and then we'll have this counter plus equals 1. What plus equals 1 means is this is the same as writing counter equals counter plus 1. So every time it does it, it adds this counter 1 extra 1 from 0, so that we know how many it has done. Because if you print, if we come just forward here and print counter, it will print how many it has done. So these two lines of code are the same, so let's just get rid of this one because this is the more efficient way of writing that code. Okay, so let's run it twice again and see what I mean. Sorry, run this. Okay, it moves perfectly, goes to the last one, sends the message. Okay, does it again, clicks the last person, perfect, and it has sent it to the last person. That is very good. And let's go back here and you can see 1, 2. So it is helping us count and see how many it has done. And I think that is very, very nice. We can actually just I think that is nice. We can have it be like that, so it just gives the final number rather than counting 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's what I like seeing, so I think that's good. And now we have a function that helps us send messages. If the message changes and we want to send something else, we can just send it. And this is a simple